Jared, my name is Mike Earhart, and I'm glad that you're considering Berean next year as a possibility for your education. Let me start by saying that you are not supposed to know how to work out every problem on this test, so don't be surprised or frustrated if you cannot solve every problem. Some of these problems are there to just kind of see how much Algebra 2 you know and Algebra 1 both, so don't be surprised about that. It is important, Jared, that you show work on as many problems as possible. Even if you aren't sure how to solve a problem, it would help me if you still tried to show some work. So please try to do that on every problem. You can show work, by the way, on a separate sheet of paper, or you can show work right there on the test if you're able to. Okay? And again, in closing, remember, the idea of this test is not to give you a grade, A, B, C, D, whatever, but just relax and do the best you can on every problem. Excuse me. Go ahead now, Jared, and get out your test. If you don't have that, then pause the video and get the test from whoever is proctoring the test, and let's go over it together. Anything that I say, Jared, from here on out on the rest of this video can be written on your test. So please listen, Jared. Feel free to pause the video when I say something and write it on your test if you want to. There's nothing wrong with that. That's very normal to do. Okay, so make sure you have your test. Make sure you have your calculator out. Make sure you have your pencil that you're going to use, and let's go ahead and get started. Please look at number 1. On the screen here you can see number 1. You can also see it on your test. You're welcome to use a calculator for this, and I want you to rearrange these numbers so that they're in ascending order. That means going up. So in other words, I want you to start with the lowest number first right here, and then work your way up to the largest number over here. Okay? All right, let's take a look at 2 through 5. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Notice I say to not use a calculator and to not use a calculator. Now, you're kind of on the honor system. I'm not sure how closely the teacher will be watching you, but do not use a calculator on these, please. I want to know what you know on these particular problems without the use of a calculator. Now on these problems, numbers 2 through 5, please show as much work as you possibly can. Show the work that you need to show, probably on a separate sheet of paper. There's not a lot of room here. Numbers 6 and 7, please understand, well, back to numbers 2 through 5, you will get a number answer for each of those, like 5 or -2/3 or 17 or something like that. For number 6 here, you will not get out a numerical answer. Number 6, I just want you to simplify this, and you should get out for your answer over here an algebra expression. Okay, you will not get out a number, it'll be an algebra expression. Number 7 is a basic linear equation. I just want you to solve this, and you will get out a number for your answer. Okay? Now numbers 8, 9, and 10 are inequalities. All right? So on numbers 8, 9, and 10, please listen to me carefully. You will not get a number out for your answer. Let me show you what I mean. For numbers 8, 9, and 10, I'm just going to make something up. You'll get something like x is less than 5, or, you know, x is greater than -2, and then there's an or right here, so or something else. And this is called a conjunction right here, and you should be able to solve that also, or at least, I shouldn't say you should be able to, it's something I would like you to try to do. So these 3 are inequalities. Please solve these 3 inequalities. Okay, looking on now at number 11. I want you to find the slope of the line that passes through these 2 points. Now, however you want to find the slope is fine. You can graph the line and find the slope that way, or you can use a slope formula. But I want you to find the slope of the line that passes through these 2 points. Now, look at numbers 12 and 13. These are called linear systems. Make sure you use the method that I tell you to use. Number 12, I want you to use the substitution method. and please show your work on a separate sheet of paper. Number 13, I want you to use the linear combination method. Be sure and show your work on a separate sheet of paper. By the way, some books call linear combination elimination, so maybe you learned it that way. And so if you're used to, if you know the word elimination, that's the same thing as linear combination. Okay, so solve both of these equations, numbers 12 and 13, for x and y. All right, let's move on. Take a look at numbers 14 through 17. Now, Jared, listen carefully. I want you to factor these. Now, sometimes factoring is learned in Algebra 1, sometimes Algebra 2. For example, I'm just going to make an answer up. Like number 14, when I say factor, it should look something like this. I'm just making something up. X minus 2, x plus 9, something like that. So what you're doing is you're taking a trinomial here, and you're breaking it down into parentheses, okay? So this here, number 14, sorry, Jared, I apologize. My throat's a little hoarse here. Number 14, you are factoring a quadratic trinomial. Same thing with 15, a quadratic trinomial. Number 16 and 17, you have the difference of two squares, and here you have the sum of two cubes. Now, if all of that is familiar, great. Factor away, okay? If it's not, then just do the best you can. If you don't know how to do it, then go on, okay? But I want you to factor these four problems, okay? Moving on to number 18. Now, notice on number 18, I want you to graph this linear equation by filling in a table of values. What I mean is I want you to draw a table of values like this, and I want you to pick three numbers. I don't care what three numbers you pick, and put a number in for x, get out a number for y, put a number in for x, get out a number for y, put a number in for x, get a number out for y, and then come over here and graph your line wherever that might be. Now notice on number 19, you're graphing the exact same equation, but I'm using a different method. I want you to use the slope-intercept method. So in other words, I want you to take this equation, get y all by itself, and once you get y by itself, you should know what the y-intercept is, and you should know what the slope is, and then I want you to graph that line using the slope-intercept method. So you graph your line right over here, okay? Now notice on 20, again, it's the exact same equation, but now I want you to graph it using another method called the double intercept method. So what I want you to do is I want you to find the x-intercept, and of course this is the x-axis and this is the y-axis, and I want you to find the y-intercept, and then after you find both of those, then go ahead and graph your line. Okay, and by the way, I'm not saying your line will look like this. It might look like this. It might look like this. I have no idea. That's for you to figure out. But I want you to graph this line using the double intercept method. Now, number 21, please notice it is an inequality. And just to refresh your memory, that means you should have a line somewhere, and then you shade either below the line or you shade above the line. Okay, so that's a little explanation there as to what I'm looking for. So graph this inequality. Number 22, graph the quadratic equation. Now, quadratic equations are parabolas. They look like this. And so what I want you to do is I want you to find the vertex. If you don't know how to do this, that's fine. But if you do, go ahead and find the vertex, and then go ahead and plot some points and sketch the quadratic the parabola for the quadratic equation. Okay, that's number 22. Number 23, I want you to graph this inequality system. So notice you have three inequalities. Just to refresh your memory, you might have a line here, and you might have a line here, and you might have a line here, and then you shade where all of the lines agree. Like maybe you'll shade in between here, or maybe you'll shade in between here, something like that. Okay, so I'm just trying to refresh your memory in case you've had this. If you haven't, that's fine. Then do the best you can or go on to the next problem. But that's what I'm looking for you to do on number 23, and I think that might be the last problem. Yes, it is. So again, Jared, all you do, just do the best you can do, show as much work as you possibly can, and then we'll grade this and we'll get back with you guys on the results. And again, it's not you're not getting a grade. We're just simply looking at where you're at in your math, which helps us know a lot better about what class you should take next year. Okay, and that's it. Hope the test goes well for you.